Alright guys, I'm going to try to give you a little bit of a tutorial on skinning this mink with the toenails completely in it. This is how I learned how to do it a long time ago. Granted, you don't have to have them on there when you sell them to the fur buyer, anything like that, but it makes it look a lot nicer if you're tanning them to hang on your wall if you got the toenails complete with your hide. A little bit more work, not, it's nothing drastic that, nobody can't do. So I'll try to show you how to do it, and as I go along and get this done, well, then we'll do the process of how I tan them, which is pretty simple. If you follow the directions, it's on the bottle of the stuff that I use. So let's get going. First off, got my little mink here. A little dirty, but I'm not going to worry about washing her off until I get her skinned out, because yeah, you do got to salt the hides and stuff like that when you go to tan them. You got to salt them, scrape them off the next day, salt them, scrape them off the next day. I have what we call here a YB zipper. This is the thing, this little knife right here, I'm telling you guys, this is quite the little knife when you go to do your cuts from your ankles down towards your vent on most of your critters. This thing is the, yeah, what can I say, it's the cat's ass. This is a nice knife. I think I paid 10 bucks for it, if that much. Nice knife, it comes in handy. The other knife that I use when I'm skinning out mink is my old trusty little dinky buck knife. This thing comes in handy doing my muskrats. It comes in handy when I do these mink. Why? Because I take my time. I want to make sure I get around the eyes real good. Kind of, a little bit better than using my beaver knife. A little bit better than using a pelting knife. So yeah, I use smaller critters. I like using the smaller items on them, or the smaller knives, I should say. Yeah, this is my skinning table. So hey, let's get going and get this done, and we'll get the tanning process going so you guys can follow me along doing the tanning process also. So as you can see, yeah, I do wear these gloves. I never used to, but excuse the sunlight, never used to, but you start thinking about things when you put these on when you're skinning. Yeah, these critters do carry diseases. Most of them are a non-noticeable type disease, unless they're foaming at the mouth or, something like that. But, and when you get, guys out trapping, messing around in the bush, you're liable to get nicks, cuts, scrapes, scratches, all kinds of good stuff. Skinning, you cut yourself. Yeah, you don't need that mixed into your blood. So, but all right, here we go. Now I'm going to take my knife. I don't want to get too close because I don't know what the focus is like. And I'm going to take this knife and I'm going to skin right from the middle of the pad all the way down to the vent. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to skin from the middle of the pad all the way to the vent. Now, on mink, if you pay attention, on each side of the vent, kind of like on a skunk, just on each side of this vent, there is scent bags where their musk is. So, yep, that's where that stuff comes in handy at. So let me get started here for you guys. Get him started here. And there it is. Just get it started. There it is there. Here it is on this little pad right here. Still, you little guy. There it is right there. Got that cut started. Now I'm going to use this little zipper. This thing, yeah, as you can see, yep, there you go. Rubber gloves. That's why half the time I never use them, because you get it caught on a fingernail or toenail, and there you go. So anyhow, then you just take this and you follow that fur line, and you try to stay to the stomach side of the vent. Old fur buyer taught me this trick a long time ago. That's how you get your length. They don't buy for the stomach fur, they buy for this fur. He told me if you stay toward the stomach side of the vent, makes your back hair a little bit longer. That was an old fur bearer guy. He's been found out, I don't know, a couple of months ago. That old boy passed away, and I sold that man a lot of fur. I sold that man a lot of fur. And I called out there to see what fur prices were for this year, and that's when I found out the old boy had passed on to the next world. And you know, glad I got to know the old boy, to tell you the truth. He was a good old boy. I actually enjoyed him. You know, bought a lot of my fur supplies from him before I started buying from fur, you know, like F&T and all that stuff like that. All right, this glove's done. Pissed me off for the day. Done. All right, now here we go. As soon as I get this opened up, we'll see what we can get going. Here we go. Normally I got music going on out here when I'm doing this. You know, preoccupies me, helps me when I'm taking my sweet time doing this. But yeah, I think in the long run, you know, years where the fur just ain't worth nothing and you catch something, you know, like females, normally you don't get that much for a female mink anyways, no matter if the fur prices are good or not. They tend not to want to really buy the females. I mean, they do, but you're not going to get a lot out of them. So, you know, you want to do something like this, they do look cool hanging on the wall, you know, which is one of my things. Here we go. As you can see here, I've skinned right around the bone here, and here we go. So you can see where I got it separated, and I'm pulling it down toward the toenail. Sorry about that. Pulling it down toward the toenail. So closer you can pull it to the toenail, the better off you're going to be. And then you do have to have a pair of wire cutters handy because you are going to end up cutting through the bone. Alright. I don't know how this is working out with this because I'm trying to new finagling on my camera. It's blinking red at me telling me something's not quite kosher. So maybe I'll have to start over again. But I'll get you caught back up. Let me see what's going on here. Alright, be right back with you guys.